Ever feel like you've tried everything but worry that your symptoms might have a deeper hidden cause? In today's video, I'm going to reveal the 7 signs that indicate you might have a mind-body condition and, importantly, what you can do about it. I'm really excited to talk about this because in my work as a mind-body coach, I've seen clients who didn't realize they had a mind-body issue change nothing else about their recovery except addressing what's happening in their mind, and it's helped them get their health back. So this is a really important topic. The majority of my work with clients focuses on teaching them how to acknowledge and process their emotions in healthy ways. And a common thread among them, despite their different symptoms, is a fear or judgment about feeling emotions. So how does suppressing emotions actually affect our health? Well, there's a good example from a 2016 study from King's College London, which examined emotional suppression in people with chronic fatigue syndrome. And they found that participants in the study with CFS were less likely to express their emotions compared to healthy individuals. And this suppression of emotions led to higher autonomic nervous system arousal. And they found that it increased fatigue after them doing a distressing task. What this study suggests is that the suppression of emotions ultimately places greater stress on the body. In this case, the greater stress manifested as fatigue. One of the godfathers of mind-body medicine is Dr. John Sarno, and he often discussed the role of suppression and repression in emotions and their relationship to chronic pain. And he noted that a lot of people with chronic pain had a lot of repressed anger. In my own healing journey, most of my mind-body work focused on learning really how to feel emotions without fear. For 5 years before getting CFS, I hadn't cried once. And during my recovery, I realized that I'd grown up in a household where expressing emotions had led to ridicule, shame, or disbelief. And growing up like that really shaped my views on what was safe for me to express. If you find expressing emotions difficult, or if you had a parent who expressed emotions destructively, or they couldn't handle any emotional outbursts, it's likely that this is contributing to your health issues today. So there's a long list of personality traits associated with mind-body conditions. However, the ones I see most frequently in my clients are perfectionism and overachievement. So our society values achievement, it values perfection and success, and it treats these qualities as inherently good. But these traits can lead to unhelpful, stressful emotions like frustration, guilt, and damaging self-talk. And this can then result in overworking, setting overly high standards, and neglecting your own emotional and physical needs. So if nothing you do ever feels good enough for your high standards, it's going to be challenging to relax and accept the pace of recovery. But also it means that you may feel like you're not doing enough. So learning to be okay with what is and bringing balance into how you approach things, knowing when okay is good enough, are skills that you can develop to make more space for recovery. In the first sign, I talked about emotional repression. So when you're suppressing or repressing emotions, you often don't even realize you're doing it. You just might be used to not feeling much of anything. On the flip side, you could be someone who feels everything. You're often overwhelmed by the intensity and variety of your emotions. And the overwhelm itself can be terrifying, leaving you unsure how to deal with it. What is the problem with emotional overwhelm? Well, the problem is it's incredibly stressful. When we're constantly bombarded by those intense emotions, it can lead to chronic stress, which negatively impacts your health. So why is this important? Well, like people who repress and suppress emotions, you've not learned how to process your emotions in a healthy way. And so gaining mastery in these skills is going to be really helpful for your recovery. One of my favorite ways of reducing emotional overwhelm is EFT. And I use this with my clients alongside other tools which are not so easy to share on my channel. So I've got a lot of resources on this channel to help you get started with EFT. And if you find it too much to do on your own, then working with someone like me really can help you get unstuck. In The Body Keeps the Score, Bessel van der Kolk talks about how trauma stays in the body and turns up as disruptive physical reactions. And this trauma can set off the body's alarm systems And then once they're switched on, they can stay permanently switched on and then become also slower to return to rest and repair. And over time, this leads our nervous system to become dysregulated, and a dysregulated nervous system impacts all the systems of the body: immune system, respiratory system, endocrine system, to name just a few. So if you've experienced trauma or a series of traumas in your life and you've not processed them effectively at a body level, they may be frustrating your attempts to recover. And you might feel something is in the past in your mind, but your body might think differently and is triggering a stress response when you're in a situation it perceives to be similar to the traumatic one. So most people who have trauma don't think they have. I never thought I experienced trauma as a child before I started working on it. But recently, out of curiosity, I did the ACEs questionnaire and looked at my childhood, which I thought was normal. And actually, I'd experienced 4 adverse childhood experiences, and ACEs are linked with poor health. So some of the things we don't think of as traumas, which can significantly impact our nervous system, are things like parents divorcing or going bankrupt, having a sick parent, being born during civil unrest, experiencing an accident, or being bullied at school. Many of my clients had none of what are called big T traumas or even ACEs, but they lived in situations where, for whatever reason, they were pressured to be high achievers, or who had parents who just weren't available to them emotionally. So working through some key traumas enabled their nervous systems to spend more time in rest and repair, and it had ripples across their stress levels and experience of life. Do your symptoms terrify you? If you've answered yes, then this will be contributing to your inability to recover whatever you are struggling with. So for many people, how they respond to the symptoms is a major mind-body roadblock. Often for mind-body conditions, the reason they're not healing is because symptoms constantly trigger a stress response, adding to their pot of chronic stress. So if every time you do something or eat something, you're anticipating a symptom, or when a symptom arises, you obsess over it, start Google searches, and you feel your anxiety increase, there's a clear mind-body aspect to your condition. And the goal with symptoms is really to get to a place of neutrality where we accept that they are there. We don't ignore them, but we don't give them too much focus or meaning. So if you've done the rounds of specialists, had loads of tests, and have been told that there's nothing wrong with you, or they can't find what's going wrong or how it can be fixed, then it's likely that a mind-body approach will help you. So a common misconception which might turn you off thinking about your condition from a mind-body perspective is that mind-body suggests that the symptoms are all in your mind. But that's not the case. The symptoms are real. They are playing out physically. And the mind and body are actually one. It's just that the reasons for them being there might have emotional roots, which you may not be consciously aware of. So another clue it's mind-body is you don't just have one thing. So you might, like I did, have CFS, fibromyalgia, and digestive issues alongside hypothyroid. And you could have a history of other issues, some stemming from childhood. So these issues are often unrelated and arise during times of change or stress and resolve themselves after minimal treatment. So let's look at my life. Childhood, I was born with EDS. I had digestive issues, psoriasis, and jaw problems. Then nothing during my teens. When I hit my 20s, digestive issues, fatigue, and chronic back issues came and went. And in my 30s, I experienced anxiety and depression, fibroids, digestive issues, chronic constipation, chronic shoulder pain, and plantar fasciitis. It's a lot to say. And then in my 40s, I developed CFS, hypothyroid, lichen sclerosis, and fibromyalgia. So you can see a history of unrelated conditions. And it was only when I paired a mind-body approach with a healthy way of eating for me, which was medical medium, that these later conditions resolved. And so even if your condition is something like EDS, because stress is a trigger for worsening of symptoms, a mind-body approach can help you in reducing the impact of symptoms. And I've not only seen this in my own journey, but in EDS clients I've worked with. So if you feel like your recovery is just going too slow, watch this video next because you might be overlooking signs that you're actually healing.